So we're going to be working a micro fringe through the front. We're seeing a lot of short pieces sort of on the forehead coming into summer, but it's not necessarily a fringe, it's just pieces. I want to take you through that. We're going to be working block graduation through the sides and the back. Some of you may have heard it as condensed cutting. It's where we're working high elevation, one section to create a lot of softness and shatteredness with technique around the perimeter. Then through the top, we are going to be working two sections, two different layering patterns. I'm going to take you through a walking technique with my 7-inch pair of scissors, which is going to create a very serrated edge to the layering. It's going to work with all textures of hair because it's creating softness with the way that I shape the layers in. And then through the back is really where we want to create the pop at that lower crown. So we're going to be working some rounded technique within our layers. Now, my actual weapon of choice is these longer shears because I'm not going to do the whole haircut with just one technique, whether it's point cutting, slicing, and so forth. So I want to switch things up to create different fabrics within the haircut. If we have a look at, at Clairol and the Wella brands, we love to work with cutting lotions in the hair. The reason why is because in the salon, I've done this many, many times, I'm sure you have too, but if we constantly wet the haircuts down, what it actually does is creates a lot of static in the hair because you're constantly combing that water through with no product. We love to use a cutting lotion. So my preference of choice today, and one of my favorite products from Sebastian is Potion 9. It's a natural styling product. I can use it on any texture of hair. I'm choosing to use it as a cutting lotion today. You can see with my mannequin head how the sections are very, very, very clean. It's called a mapping technique. None of these sections are going to blend through. They're microscopic haircuts within one shape to get a designer luxury feel within the haircut. What is the product going to do for me is maintain moisture in the hair longer. It's going to allow me to section the hair off cleaner, and because you can see with the mannequin's head, it's got a bit of wave in there, which we are going to work with the natural texture. It's actually going to help me as I cut from wet to dry. So cutting lotions are great, just nothing with strong hold factors. I would highly encourage you. So why don't we start doing this haircut? I want to encourage you, if there's any questions, please feel free to add those questions to the feed. My lovely wife, Tasha, who is in the fashion industry also, is looking after the IG Live here today. So say a big hi to Tasha, and she is going to relay those questions to me, and I will answer those questions the best I can. I also want to encourage you that my handle is in there, Carmody Homan on Instagram. We're all about community at the Wella Brands in Clairol, and feel free to DM me after this class. If there's any questions that you missed, I definitely will get back to you. So let's start off with the micro fringe. Let's really get in there. Now the reason I'm using the water spray is because the mannequin has been sitting here for a little while as we prep the class. So I just want to reactivate that product within the shape. So we're going to come through, and I'm going to start off by utilizing my razor just in the fringe area, because I just want to create a little bit more of a disheveled feeling. What does disheveled mean? That's a great question. Just a little bit more rugged on the edges, but I am going to be using a lot of control with the shape. So I'm going to give you a side profile so you can actually see the technique, and then I'll spin the mannequin around to you so you can see the results that we are getting. Now I'm all about working nice and clean. A little hot tip here, you see that I'm using a white comb on dark hair. It just really helps me when I'm looking at angles within the shape. Dark combs are fantastic when utilized on blonde hair. So if we have a look at our elevation, we're traveling horizontal from the head shape. So if I'm looking at the room as my platform, the hair is traveling horizontal to the room. And I'm just going to work soft edges in here, and I'm going to shift my finger angle to a diagonal from short to long. Now I'm using what we call the pencil grip, so it's almost like I'm writing some letters on a page. That's how I'm holding the blade with a pencil grip. And I'm going to be utilizing a short stroke to create some soft pieces in that fringe area. Okay. Now what I want to do here is I want to be a finessing hairdresser. I want to have a look. I want to make sure that that's sitting where I want it to be. And if you can have a look here, you can see that just sitting on the eyebrow level. For me, being a session stylist, this is beautiful because it's technical, but it's very organic on the edges. If I was going to go a lot shorter, that would be a different demographic of client, maybe more student, a lot more aggressive. But for me, I like the softness, I like the commerciality, and I like it just over the brow. I feel if we go above the brow, it's a little too short, but just on that brow, it looks more fashion, it looks cool, and also your client's going to keep coming back to you in between visits to get that recut. Now, because I want to get a little bit of a bend in there, I'm just going to separate the right from the left, and I'm just going to use a little tiny bit of over direction. Everything stays the same. So we're working horizontal to the root, so that's where the hair is traveling, but you'll see these edges. The edges, because of the over directed, are now traveling in diagonal. Well, diagonal lines create a lot of softness. We're continuing through with that short stroke, okay? And you can just start to see it's very, very minimal as we start to bend that through, okay? Let's do the opposite side. Now my body position, when we're working with over direction, we really want to work over direction by moving to the other side of the head shape. If we stay on the same side, you'll tend to find that you will bring the hair to your body and you will not work over direction to the center point of the head shape. So over directing everything through. Now you can see that my grip has changed. I went from on top to the bottom to palm. So we call this palm to palm. The other technique we call the hitchhiking technique, okay? So we're just changing that up and we're just using that short stroke to work that fringe area in. Now I'm not looking for this fringe to be perfect. I like things being a little bit imperfect because I'm in the fashion industry and I like hair to move. I don't like hair to be too weighed down by being too clinical. I like technique, but I also like the hair to move. So if there's any questions on the fringe, just have a shout out there. But I want to take you through these side and areas and all the way through the back. Now, how I was trained at beauty school, you were probably trained the same way. If we want to put some layering or forward graduation through the front, there's a few things that we could do. We could slice cut out if we want to work from short to long. If we wanted a little bit more technical, we would keep this corner and cut up around the face, or even use a razor around the face. But I want to use technique, and I want to show you that we don't always have to just slice everything out and razor cut everything out, because everything is very, very soft these days. Whether it's longer, mid-length, or shorter haircuts, I find personally when I teach hairdressing all over the world and work in New York City, all of the clients want to leave the salon with these big bouncy blow dries, and so we're utilizing the razor and slicing a lot more because it's very difficult, if not impossible, to cross-check a haircut with these big blow dries. They look absolutely beautiful. So for me, I would rather work technically, not saying this is what you need to do, but for my clients, I like to work technically through using the principles of cutting hair. If we understand the principles of cutting, the principles of color, and the principles of styling, there's nothing that you cannot create. So through the sides, we're going to create our forward shaping. Some companies say forward graduation. And I really want to shatter that front out. So let's have a look at the sectioning pattern. We've done a V shape, so we're going to follow the V from the corner recession area all the way down to the nape area. And I'm going to be following all the way through the sectioning pattern. So the sectioning pattern is my guide. I'm going to be using a horizontal finger angle, and I'm going to be working to the round of the head. The reason why I'm working to the round of the head is if I work straight up horizontal, I'm going to get far too much length at the back. I want this to really flow. The name of this haircut, if you're taking notes, is called the Gypsy Glamour. Okay, the Gypsy Glamour. So you've got that gypsy, grungy vibe, but with a glamorous touch, and that's where fashion is going. So I'm going to take you through the technique now. If this is horizontal from my parting where the hair would travel, we want to come up diagonally above the horizontal. So you can see that I've dropped my razor and I am actually using my 7-inch pair of scissors, okay? Now this technique is called scanning. It's like point cutting, but it's when I learned how to point cut, I was coming in and I tend to find that I would cut my fingers a lot. So what I'm going to do is come up, diagonal above the horizontal, and I'm going to just scan with my scissors along my fingers. Now there's a couple of things that are happening here. So for my beginner hairdressers, I'm going to talk to my beginner hairdressers and my advanced hairdressers. This is more of an advanced technique. My beginner hairdressers would probably cut the perimeter first, work some layering in second, and then texturize third. I'm going to show you what this does when you are a little bit more advanced. You're actually taking away the length, you're creating layers, and you're creating texture in one go. And that's what I was saying, when you really understand the principles of cutting hair, then you understand finger angle, elevation, distribution, where the hair is going to fall before it falls. So for me, when I'm in the salon, I need to execute really, really well because I have clients coming in every 45 minutes. So as I drop that down, you can start to see I've released some length. I've got my forward graduation, and because I'm working with the wave, you've already got the texture. So I'm going to go through this back area, and remember that I'm working to the round of the head shape. Now I'm working extremely clean. I've always got a clip handy. I don't like to have hair sort of coming into my space. I don't want to be a greedy hairdresser where there's too much hair. If you take too much hair and you start to elevate, now you're getting over direction from the corners. It's not a true read. So I'm just coming through, and I'm going to go into a demonstration mode. This is not how you would do it. You would have your body on top of the work, but because I want to give you the best view here, I'm just going to stand behind the head. So this is if I was doing a teaching at a hair show on a platform, you would see this. Now, you can see my guideline there, and I'm just going to go in, and I'm going to be like a photocopying machine, scanning back and forth with medium to deep point cutting. And I am following the round of the head. It's a beautiful technique. It's very current, it's very trend driven. Now, using my wide teeth of the comb, just sort of seeing where the hair is spilling out, and you can start to see that we're getting this short to long, almost Victoria's Secret shape. I'm going to continue through. Now, this is what I used to do when I was younger. I'd always kind of mess the hair up and move it around. It doesn't really do anything for the hair. I want to be a finessing hairdresser. I want to be one that's arranging, observing. I want to be a luxury hairdresser. I don't want to keep shaking the hair around because it looks cool and funky. I actually want to know that the hair can be worn in any environment. So here we go. We're coming into this back area now, and I'm going to go through with the same technique. Now remember, we're working to the round of the head. There's a couple of things that are changing as we follow the section. Number one, where is my guideline? Here it is. My finger angle is still working to the round of the head. And you'll notice that the elevation is kind of dropping a little bit because the V section is at the occipital bone, because at the front it started at the high point of the recession. Let's have a look what we're getting. Once again, finessing, arranging. So if we have a look, we've got this beautiful disheveled texture. It has a lot of technique, a lot of control, and it's high fashion. It's high fashion. It doesn't look cookie cutter, cut up the face, cut through the length. A lot of my clients, they don't like it blunt at the bottom. Look, it's not blunt, it's soft, because we understand the principles of cutting hair. We're going to go back and we're going to do the same on the opposite side. Is there any questions out there? Are you having fun out there? I'm having fun with you. And just reactivating that product, Potion 9. Loving how this fringe is drying as well. All these little flicks in here, what we call as peaks and valleys. I love this. It's very, very summery. So now I'm sure that you're going to ask me, okay, Kami, where is the guideline? Well, that's a fantastic question. It's all about reading it with your eyes now. So I'm going to come back in on that first section. I'm going to feel it out. You can also use your cutting comb to kind of get a gauge. So for me, it's 3/4 of the cutting comb. So I can come back here. I can take a little snippet of that front recession area. I can have a look where it measures up on my cutting comb. In there. I'm going to go through. I'm going to give you the best view because that's just the kind of guy that I am. And once again, here's horizontal. Horizontal is going to create strong lines. So if I was to cut that horizontal, anything below the horizontal is going to have a lot of graduation and build-up of weight. We want to work diagonally above the horizontal, continuing through with our scanning technique. What is fashionable right now? Now, I'm going to just share with you, and then you have to really make it your own when it comes to trend. I've been hairdressing now 30 years, and I don't know about your salon, but any salon that I've ever worked in, I've never had a client that came into the salon saying, I just want to look really bad, make me look ugly, I just don't want a great haircut. That never happens. Really what people want is they want to look better, they want to feel better, they want to look fashionable. But I think with maturity as a hairdresser, fashion doesn't always mean crazy and short or bold with colors. Fashion can be subtle, and you can completely change someone's image by understanding what's happening in fashion. And the maturity with the hairdresser is, well, how much of it am I going to put on them? Like, for example, as I just cross-check my work here, for example, if I've got a mother who is maybe, 50 years old and her daughter may be 18, and they want the same haircut, well, depending on their style and their lifestyle, the 18-year-old, I might do it a little stronger, but on the mum, I may do the same technique, but leave it a little lighter and longer and softer. So it's not that they're saying that they don't want fashion, it's just how much of it do we put on? And that's where it comes to maturity. I want to encourage you, I don't charge by how much hair I cut off, I charge by how much hair I leave on. I charge by the image. I charge by my skill set. And for those wonderful people that came to see us at Premier Orlando, your prices already should be going up today as you get back in the salon, because I'm a firm believer the more education that you dive into, the more pricing you can rise up in your salon. So coming through again, you can see that I'm working to the round of the head. For those that have just joined us, this is called block graduation. Some people call it condensed cutting. Our finger angle is horizontal to the round of the head. Our elevation is coming above the horizontal, so a diagonal above our part line. We have a V-shaped part line into the nape area, and we're just coming through to perimeter shape. A lot of clients love these haircuts at the moment where they're super shadowed through the bottom, which makes it look really high end, but it's all down to the dressing. So I want to encourage you that it's not about the blow dry, it's about your haircut. A client, I have clients, I deal with a lot of clients. My Williamsburg clients are more like downtown clients, and if you don't know what downtown clients mean here in New York City, downtown is more grungy, more trendy, more youthy. Uptown clients are more luxury, high-end, but I have both. So how we sell products is this, okay? I want you to focus on, is my haircut able to be worn in any environment? Is it going to be able to be wash and leave? Can she blow dry? Can she flat iron it? Can she put a curling iron in it? And this is for guys and girls, depending on the length that you're working on. Now, the only thing that shifts is the product. And I feel like in hairdressing, with how we're cutting out, with razoring and slicing everything out, it really does need that bend and bounce in it for it to look soft and seamless. But I challenge you, what happens if I was to blow dry the hair straight? Are we going to see alopecia areatus in the hair? You can laugh at that joke if you like. Not that funny, but have a good laugh at that, because I have done that. I've sliced out haircuts through, I've put the bounce in it. My clients come back to go to a celebrity event, supposed to blow dry it straight, and it looks like my son, who's 6 years old, has cut it. So we have to be careful that it's not just about the blow dry, it's about the haircut. Now, where the shift happens is this, uptown, downtown, if you take your notes. My client, she may work uptown at Chanel, right? That's my client. But she doesn't hang out uptown. She goes downtown where all the cool kids are, okay? I'm gonna keep working here as I tell you this story. Now, I want you to think about hair products in the sense of makeup, okay? Now, even though she works at Chanel, I've sold her a hair product, but I'm going to relate it to lipstick here. I've sold her a hair product for Chanel. So at Chanel, she's wearing a nice glossy lipstick, okay? She's hanging out Chanel, it's very high end, and her makeup, her hair is luxury, and she is wearing a glossy lipstick, okay? Now, when she leaves Chanel, okay, she's not wearing that glossy lipstick. She's going into her bag to find a really cool neon bright lipstick because she's about to go downtown to the East Village and hang out and watch some cool grunge band play. She doesn't want to look like she works at Chanel. So the only shift that's happening is not because of the blow dry. The shift that's happening is because of the product, okay? So let's just have a look at our shaping. You can start to see very organic, very shattered, really beautiful, already created these little petals through the front. And it's all because I've taken my time with my cutting motion, my preparation, okay, the sectioning. I feel like a lot of the time in the salons that we don't spend time on the sectioning because our clients are in, we maybe have a couple of clients, we're getting stressed out. But I want to recommend to you, when you are getting stressed out, when you are getting busy, like we all do, I'd encourage you, the best advice I ever got from my mentor was, hey, slow down, work cleaner. Because if you work cleaner, like what I'm doing now, I'm isolating my perimeter so I don't blend it. As we work cleaner, we actually work faster because we're not actually going through our haircuts to cross-check them as much. So here we are. We're going to work through this back area. We want a lot of pop here. Now, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. I don't want it too short that we lose that luxury feeling. I want the pop on the lower crown. And so I'm going to work straight out from the head shape. But this is the cool thing that's happening. If you have a look at my finger angle, I'm coming straight up from the head shape at 90 degrees. Some people say round layer, uniform layer. But the bottom of the section is traveling up diagonally. So when the bottom falls out, we're still going to be maintaining length at the bottom, and it's not going to look like a mullet because it's too short. So what I'm saying is really understanding the principles of cutting hair. You can see how I'm scanning through from short all the way through to long at the top there, but I'm point cutting up and down, like a scanner. I'm not chipping in where I actually start to cut myself. When you're going through, and I'm using pie-shaped sections, I'm being very careful that I don't bring that external length up, otherwise I'm going to actually lose the shape coming through and point cutting through. And I'm just going to continue with those pie-shaped sections in no other direction. I want it to flow. I want this haircut to look really seamless. Now, there's a little bit of color work in there. I actually worked with an amazing man called Oliver Adams on the weekend at Premier Orlando. Man, what a great guy. Like a new brother, I got to tell you. So he's put some foils in here for me using our new lightener. I highly recommend to get it. Have a look at it. It's from Clairol. It's called BW2 Plus. It's an on-scalp lightener. It lifts up to 9 levels. It's a luxury lightener. It does not smell like most lighteners, which are really offensive, and our clients think, what are you putting on our hair? And it's de-dusted. So when you start to mix it and put it in your bowl, there's not dust coming up making you have a heart attack, trying to cough the dust out. So it's de-dusted, it's a pleasant smell. The mix is beautiful, it's very cream-like, and the application is great. But for me as a precision cutter, it keeps integrity in the hair, especially on all hair textures like super curl. There's a lot of lightness that I've cut with super curl before, and I just cannot do certain techniques from a cutting perspective because the porosity is just not there. It does not have that integrity. So check out BW2 Plus and have a look at our new campaign that I was so fortunate to lead the hair team on that. Some beautiful images. You probably would have seen them at Premier Orlando. But yeah, take a look at that BW2 Plus. Now, let's take out these
We have a question. We have a question.
We have a question. Ah, awesome. Let's have a look. Can I just show you the back before we answer that question? So you start to see, because of the elevation and the point cutting, it's very, very seamless. There's no stop or start. There's no hard lines. And that's what we're looking for with luxury haircutting. All right, I'm going to get you to visually educate yourself as I take you through this last section. But I'm just going to hold that question, Tasha, because this is a really quick technique. So this is called walking through, and I'm going to answer that question. This is called walking through, okay? So everything is going to come up to the center point of the head shape. I want to maintain a lot of softness around this facial area. So the inside part of the section is vertical, the outside is diagonal. I'm using my long shears and I'm coming on a slight diagonal and I'm just walking through. So the hair looks really, really razored. So if we have a look at this on the camera, it's horizontal, but it's very, very serrated. Last part of this haircut, I'm going to do the same on the opposite side, and then I'm going to answer that question. What's the question, Tash?
All right. So, how do you know how much to cut on top? Did you have a guide from the bottom?
So that's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. So I'm not too sure exactly when you came into the Instagram live, but thank you so much for your question. Within my consultation that I had with my amazing model here, she likes it quite short on top. She wants that real Australian beach luxury vibe, that real Noosa vibe. So we had already sort of chatted about the length. Isn't that right? Yes. All right. So that would come down to the consultation. For me, because this is the first time you've kind of seen this haircut, but it's not the first time that I've cut this haircut. So for me, I just know where to gauge the haircut. Once you do these techniques a few times, you just kind of know how it's going to respond to certain hair textures and what you're trying to create. But for me, I just don't want to connect everything. So I know that I wanted to cut that underneath out. I'm just going to go through and brick cut here, guys. Brick cutting is I'm just going to come in and take some panels out to work with the wave, but it keeps the integrity in the hair. You'll see it a little bit more in the camera as I come through the front. But the key thing is it's like, the best way I could describe it is, this is the material and you're the designer. There's no right or wrong answer. The only right or wrong answer is that I just do not want to blend the hair. So it's going to determine, like, this would be something that I would do on my Williamsburg clients, but on my Soho clients, I'll probably leave it a little longer. So it's just, you know, who are you cutting it on? What's their vibe? I want to just share with you one last thing before we dry this off, okay? And this is towards this beautiful person's question. If I was to go into a clothing store and I wanted to buy a pair of jeans, and I go to the rack and I see the same pair of jeans, one is black, straight-legged, skinny, whatever. I'm just adding this to my blow dry. It's an amazing product. Sebastian texturizer, it's amazing. I'm only using just a little bit, just to enhance what I have with the Potion 9. Rubbing it all the way through and just scrunching it in. Now, there's two pair of jeans. Same label, same color, same size, both black. And one has no rips in it and one has lots of rips in it. Now, why does the one that has no rips in it cost $200 and the one with rips in it costs $500? Because one is way more creative, okay? It's where the eye goes, it's where your eye goes. And so I want to encourage you today, it's not about, say for example, you charge $300 for a full head of foils. Well, you could just put one foil through the front, but it's a fashion foil, and it's the way you see it because you understand what's happening in fashion. Well, that's $300 too. That's just the design behind where the layers need to go. I want to encourage you, if you love what you're seeing today, I'd love to come into your salon. Just some classes that I do. I do obviously cutting classes from classic fundamentals all the way through from bobs, mid-lengths, short haircuts, longer haircuts. We have programs around that. It's about 3 different programs of classic cutting. Then we do advanced cutting, and then we do inspiration cutting and finishing, which is all fashion focused, okay? Everything that we do is based around the salon chair. That's going to enhance your clientele behind the chair. We also do image consulting, where we come in and we can help you with your image as a hairdresser, and your clothing and who you want to be to your clients. We also do concept to conclusion, where I'll come into a salon and I'll help you with your branding and your shooting and the makeup and the wardrobe and the hair for all your shoots. Maybe it's NAHA, maybe it's your advertising shoots. So love to come in, DM us. I'd love to come and see you wherever you are, do some more education. I'm just going to dry this off. It's called the Williamsburg. This is the shape. The girls in Williamsburg where I work, they do not really diffuse dry or wear it really hairdresser. It's more sessiony, more fashiony. I'm just going to work with the product in the hair, and I'm going to get you to visually educate yourself. And if you have any questions, now is the time. Also, my Instagram handle is in there, Carmody Homeland on Instagram. Highly encourage you to follow me now so I can follow you back. And let's just start to build some engagement. We love community. We love answering all your questions. And love that you're on Weller Education. There's just so many wonderful artists that work with our brands. Got to work with a lot of them at Premier Orlando. Just such a wonderful team.
We have another question.
We have another question, absolutely.
Okay. Could you do this technique on curly hair?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the only thing that would change, we talk about the maturity in hairdressing. Okay. So today you came on board, you have your tool belt. Okay. You have all your tools that you have, I have my tools. I'm going to encourage you today. If there's some tools in there that are a little bit old fashioned or you know you've got to get rid of those tools, just get rid of a few of them today to make space for some new ones that are coming into your tool belt. Don't get rid of all your tools. Just enhance them with what you're learning today and on every educational session that you are observing, okay? Now, on curly hair, it depends on the curl. Is it super curl? Is it curl? Is it wave? Is it dense? Is it fine? And what would change would maybe be the length of it, because there's a lot of spring back. Are you cutting the curl dry? Are you cutting the curl wet? How does she or he wear the curl? So a lot of the times, like for example, I'll ask my clients in the consultations, do you air dry your hair? Are you more of a beach kind of finish, like a more Australian looser kind of vibe, or do you like the curl with more integrity? If I want the curl with more integrity, it's going to be shallower point cutting, it's going to be brick cutting through. So I'm creating peaks and valleys in the curl that still shrimp. Now, when I worked in Australia, a lot of the girls wanted to wash and leave their hair, and they wanted it really rough and rugged. So I would work deeper with the texturizing. I would cut it shorter in areas of the disconnection because they wanted that real surfy, glamour feeling.
Next question.
Yeah.
Which design are you creating, triangle or curves?
Design, triangle or curves? Great question. Okay, so I'm not too sure when you came on, but we did work around some diagonal, diamond-shaped sort of section, but we also did some curved layering. So through the sides, we worked to a triangular section where it was a V shape, so it was from high recession to the back area at the nape. So those are stronger lines, but we were working with a finger over that was working around. So we're trying to utilize as many techniques within the one shape, whether it's with sectioning or cutting, because when we do a mixture of things, we create movement and a seamless feeling. Seamless meaning that there's no stop or start. You can't see where the latest stop or start. So that's a wonderful question. Even when I was cutting it, sometimes I was walking the technique through the shears. I used a razor on the fringe. I point out the layers through the back. And what it does is like those ripped jeans. I'm just really seeing the hair as fabric, and I'm using my tools of maturity to create what my eye likes.
And the next question is, what are you using on your blow dryer?
This is called a soft diffuser. Okay, this is a regular diffuser. Can I just say that you guys are asking some tremendous questions? Okay, this is a regular diffuser. Can you see how many holes are in here? Yep, give me a hey thumbs up. Now, have you noticed that when you diffuse here, it's really hard to get the frizz out? It's because there's so many holes. Even though the holes are smaller than an open blow dryer, it creates a lot of frizz. So unless we have a lot of control on the diffuser and we're trying to create volume, I'm not trying to create volume. I'm doing more of a fashion lead finish. You can have a look on my sock diffuser. You could put like a little pin through those holes. It's hardly, you can't even see the holes. So it's really to take away any frizz. And you can also just come through and cradle the hair, where you put your hand behind there and just make that real kind of beachy finish to the hair. But I love soft diffusers. It's more of a session finish. I'm a session stylist. I do a lot of the campaigns for Clairol. So these are just little techniques that I pick up along the way. And I just want to really talk to you and encourage you. You know, we have to stay young when it comes to hairdressing. We have to think young. We have to evolve with what's happening. And so for me, one of the reasons why I do session work and I'm always looking at what's happening on the street, and even with myself, I'm always assisting better session stylists than myself, because what it does is you're never too old to learn. Because what's new today is old tomorrow. And just picking up the soft diffuser, technique allows me to bring that freshness into the salon. And our clients, whether it's the first time that you've cut their hair or the 1,000th time you've cut their hair, every single client wants to feel like it's the first time. So when they see a soft diffuser, they're like, wow, that's cool, that's fresh. So great question. Just keep picking up those tools. Keep assisting people, no matter how old you are. Keep trying to push yourself to new levels within hairdressing. And I really want to encourage you. For me, I'm into street fashion. So I'm always on the street looking at things, going into the cafes, and just people watching and just sort of seeing in Brooklyn where I can kind of enhance my game in the fashion arena. Don't ever lose that passion that you started with hairdressing. And you have to keep it alive. Otherwise, hairdressing just becomes a job behind the chair that becomes a little monotonous if you're not really evolving. We'll take a couple more questions and then we're going to be signing off really, really soon. So if there's any more questions, now would be the time.
Well, there's someone asking for tips for straight hair.
For straight hair cutting? Straight hair cutting?
Tips for straight hair. And there are people saying they love this haircut.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you love it. Well, I'm gonna go with tips for straight hair cutting. Okay, so in the salon, we're seeing just everybody wants softness, whether it's with the wave or the straight hair. Now, what I have personally found works well for me, I'm a very technical hairdresser, but I love softness. So if I was doing like this haircut on straighter hair, maybe I wouldn't use as many disconnections, or maybe be a little bit more connected. The idea would be the same. I'd blow it out straight, but then I'd get in there and start to really feather it out with some really long, soft slicing, so you don't see any demarcation lines in the hair. So when I'm cutting sort of straighter hair, especially if it's denser, I'll put the shape in first. I wouldn't use the razor to create the shape on straight hair, that's just my preference. But I do go with the razor just to notch it out, to sort of break that weight up so it still has the softness within the technique. My finishing product is from Sebastian again, it's Trillion. It's actually a heat protecting spray, but I just love it on a lot of these shapes. It gives a little bit of hold, but it gives great shine to this kind of beachy finish. So like I was saying earlier, make sure that you keep watching, the Weller Education. There's some fantastic artists that come up that we do. We love you guys. We love being a part of your community. Make sure you check out the BW2 Plus lighting from Clairol. And please follow me at Carmody Homan. DM me if you have any more questions. And if you need me to come into your class and teach a cutting class in your salon, just let me know. But we'll take one last question, Tash. Do you have any more questions before we sign off today?